Betrayed. Broken, reborn. This is Novel Binge.
7 days before the wedding, she tried to take my home. She called my 10 years of mortgage payments a gift. Then I opened the folder she never knew I had kept. 7 days before our wedding, I came home early with a bouquet of white roses. It was the home I had spent 10 years paying for. The home I had renovated with my own hands. The home I had once believed would be mine and Lynn Rowe's for the rest of our lives. But when I opened the door, my girlfriend was sitting in our living room with another man, and they were discussing how much the apartment would be worth as collateral. "This place has a good location," the man said. 10 minutes from Yonggang East Station. Easy access from the elevated road. If you mortgage it, the appraisal won't be low. My hand stopped on the door handle. The key was still in the lock. The living room lights were on. At the entrance, a pair of men's black leather shoes sat neatly beside the cabinet, polished to a shine. My slippers had been kicked underneath. Lynn Rowe sat on the sofa in a cream cashmere dress. Her hair was curled, her makeup soft and careful. Beside her sat a man in his early 30s, silver cuff links, expensive watch. The kind of smile that did not reach his eye. He did not stand up when he saw me. He only glanced at me, as if I were a tenant who had overstayed his lease. I placed the white roses on the entryway cabinet. "Who is he?" Lynn Rowe lowered her eyes and smoothed her skirt. "Jiang Sheng." I asked why he's here. Jiang Sheng smiled. "You must be Mr. Shen. Didn't Rowe explain things to you?" I looked at Lynn Rowe. She avoided my gaze and pulled a thin folder from beneath the coffee table. When she pushed it toward me, the paper scraped softly across the glass. "Shen Yan," she said. "The wedding is off." I stared at her. She said it so calmly, as if she were telling me the sales office would be closed tomorrow. "Why?" She finally looked up. "We're not right for each other." I almost laughed. 10 years together, 7 days before the wedding, and now we're not right for each other. She frowned. Jiang Sheng leaned back against the sofa. "Mr. Shen, adults don't have to make a breakup ugly. Rowe has already told me about your situation. This apartment is her premarital property. It isn't appropriate for you to keep living here." I did not look at him. I only looked at Lynn Rowe. "Who paid the down payment for this apartment?" Her expression shifted, but only for a second. Then that cold indifference returned. "The title deed has my name on it." My voice came out hoarse. "And the mortgage, the renovation, the parking space, even that balcony light in the living room. I watched the worker redo it 3 times myself." Jiang Sheng stood and walked over to the balcony. He looked up at the light strips I had installed years ago. "Decent taste," he said. "A little outdated." Then, he turned back to me. "Mr. Shen, renovation costs you willingly paid during a relationship are a gesture of affection. Now that Rowe doesn't want to continue, you can't refuse to leave because of gifts you once gave her." The keys dug into my palm. The pain was sharp, clean. Lynn Rowe opened the folder and slid out an agreement. "Sign it." I lowered my head. The title read, "Voluntary Gift Confirmation and Property Waiver Statement." Below it, the first line said, "I Shen Yan confirm that all payments made to Lynn Rowe during our romantic relationship were voluntary gifts, with no arrangement for loans, joint property purchase, or shared ownership." I stared at the page for a long time, long enough for Lynn Rowe to grow impatient. "It's just a formality," she said. "Once you sign, we can part with dignity." "Dignity?" I looked up at her. "You're sitting in the wedding home I paid for and renovated with your new boyfriend beside you, asking me to sign a paper saying 10 years of mortgage payments were a GFT, and you call that dignity?" Her gaze turned cold. "Shen Yan, don't make it sound so ugly." "Then, how should I say it?" I placed the agreement back on the table. "Should I say I deserved it?" She said, "Nothing." Jiang Sheng spoke for her. "Mr. Shen, Rowe gave you 10 years of her youth. Is it too much for her to ask for a little security?" Security. Those 3 words again. The first time I heard them was 8 years ago. Back then, Lynn Rowe and I had just moved out of the old city and were living in a 40 square meter rental apartment. In the summer, the air conditioner leaked. Mold grew on the wall above the bed. She curled up in my arms and said she wasn't afraid of hardship. She was only afraid that we would never have a home of our own. I told her we would. Later, we went to look at apartments. We were still far short of the down payment. My mother sold the old house my father had left her and transferred the money to me. Lynn Rowe held my hand, her eyes red. "Put the apartment under my name, Shen Yan. It's not that I don't trust you. I just don't feel secure." Back then, I thought giving her security meant taking one more step back. Give a little more. Love her. A little more. So I signed the purchase documents. I put every receipt into a file folder. The sales agent asked me, "Sir, are you sure you don't want your name added?" Lynn Rowe immediately looked at me, panic in her eyes. I smiled and said, "Put it under her name for now." She hugged me that day and said she would remember it for the rest of her life. Now, sitting on the sofa in that same apartment, she lifted her chin and told me, "The title deed has my name on it, so it's mine." The living room fell silent. I pushed the agreement back across the table. "I'm not signing." Lynn Rowe's frown deepened. "Shen Yan, don't force me. How much further could you possibly force me? She glanced at Jiang Sheng. He took a spare key from his bag and placed it on the coffee table. The lock will be changed tomorrow. Pack your personal belongings tonight. Also, Roe doesn't want you showing up here again. He spoke politely. Every word felt like a hand pressing down on the back of my neck. I looked at the new key, then at the white roses on the entryway cabinet. A drop of water clung to one petal, then slowly fell. I asked Lin Roe, in these 10 years, was there ever one second when you felt sorry for me? She was quiet for a few seconds. Then she said, Shen Yan, stop holding me hostage with the past. I nodded. Then I took the keys from my palm and placed them on the coffee table. Fine. Jiang Sheng smiled, as if he had finally handled an annoying matter. That's the best attitude, Mr. Shen Ruwei said. You were reasonable. I did not answer. I took out my phone and photographed the agreement on the table. Lin Roe stood at once. What are you doing? Keeping a souvenir. I put my phone away. A trace of unease flashed through her eyes. Only for a moment. Then it vanished. I walked into the master bedroom and opened the closet. My clothes still hung beside hers, my suits next to her dresses. On the bedside table lay a sample of our wedding invitation. Groom, Shen Yan. Bride, Lin Roe. I picked it up. My fingertip brushed over my own name. Then, I set it down. From the living room, Jiang Sheng's voice drifted over. The balcony is sealed well. I'll have an appraisal company come by another day. Lin Roe said something in a low voice. I did not catch it. I folded my clothes into the suitcase one by one. When I reached the suit I was supposed to wear on the wedding day, I stopped. The tag was still attached. The tailor had said the shoulder line fit perfectly. At the time I had smiled and said a wedding only happened once. I had to look decent. Now, the suit hung there like a joke. I left it behind. At 9 that evening, I dragged 2 suitcases to the door. Lin Roe sat on the sofa without turning around. Jiang Sheng was polite enough to open the door for me. Take care, he said. I walked out. The door closed behind me. The lock clicked softly. After that sound, I stood outside the door for a long time. 10 years ago, Lin Roe and I had just graduated. I worked overtime at a small-cost consulting firm. She was a copywriter at a nearby advertising agency. We lived in an urban village. When it rained, the roof leaked. I would catch the water in a basin while she crouched beside me, laughing and saying that one day we would buy a place that did not leak. Back then, when she said the word home, I felt everything was worth it. For that apartment, I changed jobs 3 times. By day I ran project estimates for the company. At night, I took side jobs compiling cost lists. When other people took weekend trips, I sat in front of my computer checking rebar quantities. One New Year's Eve, I was revising settlement documents in a temporary shed at a construction site while fireworks cracked outside all night. Lin Roe sent me a voice message. Shen Yan, if you keep working this hard, we'll definitely have a good life. I listened to that message again and again, until my phone died. So later, whenever she mentioned security, I took a step back. Not enough for the down payment. I would find a way. The mortgage felt stressful. I would shoulder it. The renovation went over budget. I took more work. Her mother said a woman should not enter her husband's home empty-handed. There had to be a bride price. I paid it. Her brother Lin Hao said, "Brother-in-law, I'm a little tight this month. We're family, right?" I transferred the money. Lin Roe said the parking space should be under her name too, so she could feel more at ease. I agreed. Every time, I told myself, just one more step. If we got through this, we would get married. The next morning, the family and friends group chat exploded. Lin Roe sent the first message. The wedding is cancelled. Thank you all for your concern. From now on, Shen Yan and I will go our separate ways. That sentence alone was ordinary, until another message followed. Also, please stop pestering me. Don't use things you gave during the relationship as leverage. The group fell silent for several seconds. Then Lin Roe's mother, Jo Malin, stepped forward. Roe, don't be afraid. The apartment is your premarital property. No one can take it from you. A distant aunt asked, what happened? Is Shen Yan trying to take the house? Jo Malin immediately sent a voice message. I opened it. Her voice was sharp and loud. Isn't that exactly what he's doing? He lived in Roe's apartment all these years. And now that they've broken up, he wants to settle accounts. A man with no shame at all. I stared at the voice message. My finger hovered over the screen. I did not reply. I kept scrolling. Lin Hao sent a sticker. Sis, I told you, don't let a freeloader get too comfortable. Soon, people began to comfort me, as if I were the one causing trouble. Shen Yan, be the bigger man. Don't make it ugly just because the relationship is over. The house belongs to whoever is on the deed. You lived there all these years. It's not like you lost anything. I sat in my car downstairs from the office. The windshield wipers moved back and forth across the glass. I took screenshots of every message. I saved each voice recording. I saved them all the way until Jo Malin sent another one. Back then, putting Roe's name on the deed was exactly to prevent him from changing his mind later. A woman always needs some security. Now it's clear, I had good judgment. I stared at that voice message, saved it, backed it up, sent it to my own email. My colleague Chen Jia knocked on the car window. I rolled it down. He handed me a cup of hot coffee. You look terrible. Didn't sleep. I took the cup. The wedding's off. Chen, Jia, Rose. Your girlfriend, of 10 years. Yeah, what about the apartment? I said nothing. He cursed under his breath. I told you years ago, you were too soft with her family. Last time Lin Hao came to you for 100,000 yuan, you still defended him. It wasn't 100,000. I gripped the coffee cup. Altogether, it was 360,000. Chen Jia opened his mouth. It took him a while to speak. Are you insane? I smiled faintly. I was. At 10 that morning, Lin Rowe texted me. You still have some things here. Deal with them by tonight. I replied, I'll come after work. She answered quickly, not convenient. I'll have Lin Hao bring your things down. At 6 that evening, I arrived at the entrance of the residential complex. The security guard stopped me. Mr. Shen, I'm sorry. The owner instructed us not to let you upstairs. I looked at him. I've lived here for 7 years. He looked embarrassed. The registered owner in the system is Ms. Lin. He pushed the visitor registration form toward me. Why don't you call Ms. Lin? I called Lin Rowe. She did not answer. A few minutes later, the elevator doors opened. Lin Hao came out dragging a suitcase. Joe Malin followed behind him. My clothes had been stuffed in at random. Several shirt sleeves were caught in the zipper. Lin Hao kicked the suitcase toward my feet. Take it and go. Brother-in-law. He deliberately stressed the last 2 words. Joe Malin crossed her arms and looked at me. Shen Yan, you need to have a conscience. Our Rowe has dated you for 10 years. We never treated you badly, did we? I stared at the suitcase. The corner of a photo frame stuck out. It was a photo of Lin Rowe and me at the sales office. She had worn a hard hat that day, smiling so hard her eyes curved. I picked up the frame. The glass was broken. A crack ran straight down the middle between us. Joe Malin was still talking. You came here from another city with nothing. Who helped you settle in Yonggang? Without our Rowe by your side, could you have gotten this far? Lin Hao laughed beside her. Mom, don't waste your breath. He's here to settle debts now. Every few yuan has to be counted. I placed the frame back into the suitcase. Then I took out my phone and opened the recorder. Lin Hao saw it and his expression changed. What are you recording? I turned the screen off. I left the navigation running earlier. Joe Malin snorted. Stop pretending. I've seen plenty of men like you. Rowe left you because she finally saw the truth. I zipped up the suitcase. Just as I was about to leave, Lin Hao called out again. Oh right, the dining set in the living room. My sister said you bought it, but it's old and she doesn't want it. If you want it, send someone to pick it up tomorrow, otherwise we'll throw it away. I bought that dining set at the end of last year. Lin Rowe had said that after we got married, both sets of parents would come over for meals, so the table needed to be bigger. I spent a long time choosing. On the day it was delivered, it rained heavily. I helped the movers carry it upstairs and cut the back of my hand. She put a bandage on me that day and smiled. From now on, this will be our dining table. I looked up. The lights on the balcony of the 16th floor were on. Those lights I had personally fixed. Warm yellow. From below, it looked so much like a home. But I stood downstairs, unable even to take the elevator up. I said to Lin Hao, throw it away. He froze, as if he had not expected me to answer so simply. I dragged my suitcase out of the complex. The rain was light. The suitcase wheels rattled over the cracks in the pavement. At the street corner, my mother called. Ayan, have you eaten? I held the phone, my throat tight. Mom, I'll stay at your place tonight. There were a few seconds of silence. Then she said, all right, I'll heat some food for you. It was almost 8:30 when I reached the small apartment my mother rented. 1 bedroom, 1 living room, in an old walk-up building. The tiny kitchen window faced the wall of the next building. When she opened the door and saw me with 2 suitcases, she paused for only a moment. Then she took the umbrella from my hand. Your shoes are wet. Change first. Dinner was still warm in the pot. A bowl of tomato and egg noodles. She brought the noodles out, then went inside to get a dry towel. Dry your hair. I sat at the table with the chopsticks in my hand, but I did not move for a long time. She sat across from me. The wedding is off. I nodded. What about the apartment? I lowered my head and looked at the steam rising from the bowl. My eyes stung. She said it's hers. My mother said nothing. She got up, went to the bedroom, and opened a drawer. Inside was an old file folder with corners worn white. She took it out and placed it on the table. These are the documents from when I sold the old house. I stared at the folder. It felt like looking at a wound I had buried deep and refused to touch. The old house my mother used to live in had been left by my father before he passed away. It was not large. It was old and worn, but she had lived there for more than 20 years. The year I bought the wedding apartment, I was short by a large amount for the down payment. She said the old house was too high up and her legs were no longer good. Sooner or later, she would have to sell it anyway. After selling it, she moved into this small rental. Back then, I told her I would bring her to live in the new apartment later. She smiled and said, no rush, wait until you and Rue get married. Then I'll come over and help take care of the children. I never forgot that. But all these years, I had never actually had her live with me for even one day. The wedding apartment was registered under Lin Roe's name. When I told my mother, she was uneasy. She stayed quiet for a long time. then said only, "As long as you young people have talked it through." Now the sale contract of her old house lay in front of me. The paper had yellow. Every page felt like a weight pressing on my chest. I said softly, "Mom, I'm sorry." She shook her head. "You're not the one who owes me an apology." I looked up. She said, "You're the one you've let down." There were wrinkles at the corners of her eyes. Her hair had turned much whiter than I remember. I used to think she had not aged. That she could still wait. Wait for me to get married. Wait for me to settle down. Wait until I had time. But after all that waiting, I had funneled her life savings into someone else's title deed. I picked up a mouthful of noodles. After chewing twice, tears fell into the bowl. My mother did not try to comfort me. She only pushed the tissue box closer. That night, I slept on the living room sofa. A little after 11, my phone buzzed. It was Lin Ruwei. "You'd better sign the agreement soon. Zhang Sheng knows a lawyer. If you keep pestering me, I'll have no choice but to call the police." I stared at the message. I typed one word. "Okay." Then, I deleted it. I did not send anything. The next day, I took half a day off and went to Li Qinghei's law firm. Li Qinghei was my college classmate. He used to sleep in the bunk above mine. After graduation, he went to law school and became an attorney, while I entered the real estate cost consulting industry. We had not seen each other in years. When he saw me, the first thing he said was, "You look like a client dragged you through 3 rounds of settlement hell." I did not laugh. I placed the document bag on his desk. Inside were photos of the agreement, screenshots of the group chat, some transfer records, and several property purchase documents. Li Qinghei finished reading. Then he leaned back in his chair and stayed silent for a long time. "Do you still want to get back together?" I looked at him. He asked again. "Shen Yan, think carefully. If you still want her back, I don't advise you to continue, because every step from here on will tear off someone's mask." I said, "I want back what belongs to me." Li Qinghei nodded, then stopped talking about feelings. He picked up a pen and wrote 3 lines on a piece of paper. First, where the money came from. Second, why the money was given. Third, what both parties said at the time. He turned the paper toward me. "Having the apartment under her name doesn't mean you have no claim at all, but you need to prove that the money wasn't simply a romantic gift, or large sums like the down payment, mortgage payments, renovation, and parking space. What matters is the flow of funds, the intent, and the context." I listened without interrupting. Li Qinghei glanced at me. "You worked in cost auditing. Your receipt-keeping habit should be better than most people's, right?" I slowly let out a breath. "Not bad." When I got home, I dug an old portable hard drive out of a storage box. It was covered in dust. I plugged it into the computer. The screen flickered, and folders appeared one after another. 2016, property purchase. 2017, renovation. 2018, mortgage. 2019, furniture and appliances. 2020, Lin Hao loans. 2021, bride price discussions. 2022, parking space. 2023, wedding banquet. I stared at those folders. My finger hovered over the mouse. Lin Ruwei used to tease me, saying I lived like an audit robot. I even kept the receipt for buying a rice cooker. I said it was habit. On a project, if even one supporting document was missing, hundreds of thousands could be deducted. That was why I hated unclear accounts. But with her, I had always allowed the accounts to remain blurry. In the end, everyone thought I had no evidence. I opened the first folder. Inside were bank transfer screenshots, payment receipts from the sales office, and scanned copies of the loan contract. There was also one audio recording from back then. The file name was Ordinary, Sales Office Conversation, Shenty 2016_09_18. I looked at it, but I did not open it. Li Qinghei had said not to show my hand too early. First, see what the other side says. 3 days later, I sent Lin Ruwei a simplified investment list. It was short. No legal jargon. Only 3 items. Down payment, mortgage deductions, renovation, furniture, and appliances. On the last line, I wrote, "Please review these expenses. If there is any dispute, we can arrange a time to discuss it." She did not reply. Half an hour later, I saw her post on social media. The attached image was a screenshot of my list. My name and the amounts were not blurred. The caption had only one sentence. 10 years of love, ruined by a bill. Turns out some men really will count every cent after a breakup. Comments appeared quickly. "So embarrassing. Good thing you didn't marry him. What a petty man." Zhang Sheng also commented, "A truly capable man gives security, not invoices." Lin Ruwei replied with a smiling emoji. I stared at that comment for a long time. Screenshot. Say, Chen Jia messaged me. I saw her post. "Do you want me to explain things at the company?" I replied, "No need." He said, "You don't have to tough it out. People were already talking about you in the break room today." I put down my phone. Outside the office, 2 colleagues walked by, speaking in low voices. "That's him. I heard he's demanding money from his girlfriend after the breakup. He looks honest. Didn't expect that." I closed the spreadsheet on my computer. Then I opened the client project file. The cost report still needed its final version. I stared at the numbers on the screen. I could not absorb a single one. That evening, Lin Ruwei finally replied to my message. "Shen Yan, I didn't expect you to become this kind of person. Didn't you give me all that money willingly?" Now you're digging up the past. It makes me sick. A few seconds later, she sent another message. Jiang Sheng is right. You can't give me security. I stared at those words. Security. Then, suddenly, I smiled. I replied, then let's follow legal procedure. She answered quickly, whatever. The next morning, I received a lawyer's letter. It came from attorney Qian, whom Lin Rowe had hired. The wording was aggressive. It demanded that I stop harassing Lin Rowe, delete all information involving her personal privacy and property, and refrain from interfering in any way with her disposal of assets under her name. The final sentence warned that if I continued to pester her, she would pursue legal action against me for defamation and related liability. I forwarded the letter to Li Qinghe. He replied with 3 words. Good. She's panicking. At the office that afternoon, my director called me in for a conversation. Director Liang rarely interfered in employees' personal matters. That day he closed the door and poured me a glass of water. Shenyan, there have been rumors about your private life recently. I said nothing. He continued, you know our department often works with developers and property owners. In a cost audit position, the last thing you want is for clients to think you're tangled in money disputes. I looked up. Director Liang, I have no improper money dispute. I'm being maliciously slandered. He sighed. I believe you, but clients may not be able to tell the difference. Handle it properly. Don't let it affect the project. The words were tactful. The meaning was clear. As I left his office, my phone rang. It was my mother. She said her medical report had come out, and the doctor wanted her to do more tests. I asked where she was. She said she was at the hospital entrance. It was nothing serious. When I rushed there, she was sitting alone on a bench in the hallway, holding a payment slip. The moment she saw me, she tried to stuff it into her bag. Why did you come? I told you it's nothing. I took the slip. Examination fees, medication, follow-up appointments. Altogether, it was not much. But in that moment what came to mind was not the amount. It was the transfer for the wedding apartment's down payment. It was what she had said when she pushed the bank card toward me after selling her old house. Mom isn't capable of much. This is all I can do to help you. I clenched the slip. If I could not get that money back, I would not only lose 10 years of luck, I would have lost my mother's safety net too. That evening, Lin Ruwei sent me a long message. Shenyan, this is the last time I'm reminding you. Sign the agreement and let's end this with dignity. If you keep making trouble, I'll post online about how you harassed me, threatened me, and tried to steal my house. Your mother's health isn't very good, is it? Your job isn't easy either. If this really blows up, it won't benefit anyone. I stared at the last 2 sentences. For a long time, I did not move. She knew my mother's health was poor. She knew that what I feared most was making my mother worried. She had once bought my mother a scarf. She had once accompanied her to the hospital for a checkup. She was not ignorant of where it hurt. She simply chose to press there now. I did not reply. I opened my laptop and continued sorting documents. At 2 in the morning, I exported 10 years of bank records. The computer fan whirred loudly. I sat in the living room and checked each entry line by line. The down payment had been made in 3 installments. The mortgage deduction spanned 108 months. There were 7 renovation contracts, 23 receipts for furniture and appliances. Lin Hao had borrowed money 14 times. There were more than 30 pages of chat records about the Lin family's bride price negotiations. As the export neared the end, I saw a folder named Wedding. Inside were hotel deposits, wedding contracts, and invitation designs. I opened the invitation sample. I stared at it for a few seconds. Then I closed it. The next day, Li Qinghe accompanied me to the courthouse. He did not promise we would definitely win. He only said, first, apply for asset preservation. Whether the evidence is enough can be supplemented later, but the apartment has to be secured first. I asked, will it be approved? He glanced at me. Don't put all your hope on one procedural step. The court will make its own judgment. But if you do nothing, she may dispose of the apartment soon. I signed the documents. Shenyan, 2 characters, written steadily. After that day, Lin Rowe was quiet for 2 days. On the 3rd night, she called. The moment I answered, her voice changed. Shenyan, what exactly did you do? I was standing in the stairwell of the office building. Outside, the sky had gone dark. What's wrong? The transaction center says the property is involved in a civil dispute and advised he buyer to proceed with caution. The agent says it's hard to list it now. Did you do this? I held the phone. Wasn't this what you said? We'll go through legal procedure. Her breathing quickened. What right do you have? The house is mine. Then, what are you afraid of? There was a brief silence. Then, she let out a cold laugh. Shenyan, you truly disgust me. I said nothing. She continued, do you think this will make me come back? Stop dreaming. Jiang Sheng won't be as petty as you. He can give me the life I deserve. I said, I wish you happiness. Then, she hung up. I stood in the stairwell, listening to the silence. There was no satisfaction, only a chill that came far too late. It was not that she did not know my money was in that apartment. She simply believed that as long as my name was not on the deed, I should keep my mouth shut. That weekend, Lin Rowe held a banquet. The venue was still the one we had originally chosen, Yonggang Bay Banquet Hall. We had booked 30 tables. She did not cancel. She simply replaced the names at the check-in desk with hers and Zhang Sheng's. Chen Jia forwarded me a live stream video. In the video, Lin Roe wore a little white dress under the lights. Zhang Sheng stood beside her with a champagne glass in his hand. Zhou Meilin smiled broadly as she spoke to the relatives. A girl still has to find someone who can give her security. That ex of hers dated her for 10 years and still didn't properly put he house and car under her name. After the breakup, he even had the nerve to settle accounts. Someone asked, "Isn't that house Rue's?" Zhou Meilin laughed even louder. "Of course it's Rue's. The deed only has her name on. As her parents, would we ever harm her?" Lin Hao leaned close to the camera, his face red from alcohol. "From now on, with brother Sheng beside her, my sister is finally turning her life around. Some people were stepping stones for 10 years and still want to take the stones back." Everyone around him laughed. Chen Jia sent me a message. "Want to go?" I replied, "No." The video continued. Someone teased Zhang Sheng and asked when they would get the marriage certificate. He laughed and swirled the wine in his glass. "Soon. Just waiting for some paperwork to wrap up." Lin Roe glanced at him. The look was brief, but the video captured it clearly. I saved it. Then, I sent it to Li Qinghe. He replied, "Stop watching, go to sleep." I wrote back, "Can't sleep," he said. "Then sort out the notes on Lin Hao's loans." I smiled. Then, I kept working. The pretrial mediation was scheduled for a week later. That morning, it drizzled in Yungang. I arrived at the courthouse with a file folder. Lin Roe and Zhang Sheng were already there. She wore a black coat. Her complexion looked much worse than it had online. Zhang Sheng stood beside her, still composed. Attorney Qian stood with an assistant, holding a neatly organized folder. When he saw me, he extended his hand. "Mr. Shen, I've heard a lot about you." I did not take it. Li Qinghe stepped in front of me. "Let's talk inside." The mediation room was small. A kettle of hot water sat in the middle of the table. On the wall hung a sign, "Mediate according to law, voluntarily and equally." Lin Roe sat across from me. She glanced at me once, then quickly looked away. Attorney Qian spoke first. "We believe the disputed property is registered solely under Ms. Lin's name and was purchased before marriage. Mr. Shen's claim to recover so-called contributions lacks factual and legal basis." Li Qinghe did not hurry. He pushed the first set of documents across the table. "Let's confirm the facts first." Attorney Qian opened the folder. Down payment, transfer records, automatic mortgage deduction records, renovation payments, invoices for furniture and appliances. His expression did not change, but Lin Roe pressed her lips together. Li Qinghe said, "Ms. Lin, please confirm whether these funds were used for the purchase, mortgage repayment, and renovation of the disputed property." Attorney Qian frowned. "The existence of funds and the nature of those funds are separate issues. Then let's first confirm the funds existed." Li Qinghe looked at Lin Roe. "Ms. Lin, do you deny these payments?" Lin Roe stayed silent. Zhou Meilin had also come. She sat behind them and could no longer restrain herself. Who knows if those receipts are fake? These days what can't be forged? I looked at her. Li Qinghe took out bank-stamped statements. The bank records can be verified. Lin Hao sat beside Zhou Meilin. His face turned slightly pale. Attorney Qian whispered for Zhou Meilin to stay quiet. Lin Roe finally spoke. "I don't deny he spent money." She looked at me. "But Shen Yan, wasn't it all your own choice?" Her voice was soft, very steady. "When you pursued me, you said that as long as I felt secure, the house could be under anyone's name. You said you loved me. Now that you don't love me anymore, you want to turn all the good from the past into debt." After she said that, her eyes reddened. The mediator's expression shifted slightly as he looked at me. Lin Roe was always good at speaking this way. She knew how to turn money into love. She knew how to turn possession into injury. Attorney Qian immediately followed. During a romantic relationship, spending money or transferring funds out of affection should be recognized as a gift. Mr. Shen, now demanding repayment, lacks evidence of any loan agreement or joint ownership arrangement. Li Qinghe glanced at me. His meaning was clear. Hold back. I lowered my eyes to my hands. Under the table, my knuckles were white. Lin Roe continued. "Didn't you always say you wanted to give me a home? Now that I have this home, are you regretting it?" Zhou Meilin seized the chance. "That's right. A man has to keep his word. Our Rue spent 10 years with you. How do you calculate the loss of her youth? What's wrong with giving her a house?" Lin Hao muttered. "If it weren't for my sister, he would never have been close to our family in the first place." The mediation room went quiet. Jiang Sheng finally spoke. "Mr. Shen, I advise you to accept reality. Making a scene now will only make Rue look down on you more. It's pointless." He placed his hand on the back of Lin Roe's chair. "You couldn't give her security. I can." I looked up at him. "You'll pay for it?" Jiang Sheng laughed. "At least I wouldn't chase a woman for money after a breakup." I smiled too. "Then why are you so eager for her to sell the apartment?" The smile on his face froze for half a second. A very brief moment. Lin Roe immediately looked at me. Shenyan, stop talking nonsense. I did not answer. Li Qinghe placed the second folder on the table. Since the other side claims these were gifts, let's examine the true intent of both parties at the time. Attorney Qian's face darkened. Attorney Li, please submit evidence according to procedure. Of course. Li Qinghe opened the folder. The first item was a transcript of the recorded conversation from the sales office. The mediator took it. The moment Lin Roe saw the title, her expression changed. I did not look at her. I looked out the window instead. Rain slid down the glass. I had listened to that recording the night before. The audio was old, laced with static. In the background, someone at the sales office was calling numbers. Wang Qiming, the real estate agent from back then, asked, since Mr. Shen's name won't be on the deed, how will the loan and repayments be arranged? It's best to clarify this in advance. Then came Lin Roe's voice, younger, softer. Put it under my name for now. My parents will feel more at ease. The apartment will definitely be our shared home. We can add his name after we get married. Then, my own voice followed. She doesn't feel secure. Let's do it her way first. The recording ended. The room fell silent. Lin Roe's hands gripped the hem of her skirt. Attorney Qian asked her quietly, did you know about this recording? She did not answer. Zhou Meilin could no longer sit still. Those were just sweet words from dating. How can they count? Li Qinghe looked at her. Madam Zhou, you said similar things too. Zhou Meilin froze. What? The second voice message came from the Lin family group chat. It was not recent. It was from 7 years ago, shortly after the apartment had been purchased. At the time, Zhou Meilin had been very pleased and sent several voice messages. One of them played clearly in the room. Most of the down payment came from Shenyan and his mother. Registering the house under Rui's name is Shenyan's way of caring for her. As the bride's family, we need that security. After they get married, it will belong to both of them anyway. The message ended. Zhou Meilin's face turned red, then pale. She opened her mouth to curse, then remembered where she was, and forced herself to stop. Lin Roe said quietly, my mother only said that casually. Li Qinghe nodded. Then let's look at the capital chain. The third set of documents contained the contract from my mother's sale of her old house, the receipt of that sale, the transfer records showing the money entering my account, and the bank statement showing that same account making the down payment. Transaction after transaction, dates, amounts, account names. The mediator read carefully. I saw Lin Roe look up at me. There was panic in her eyes, and something else I could not name. Maybe. She remembered. Back then, when my mother handed me that bank card, Lin Roe had been there. She held my mother's hand and said, Auntie, don't worry, I'll take good care of Shenyan in the future. My mother laughed happily. As long as the two of you live well, that's all that matters. Now those words sat on the table beside the bank statements. No one could avoid them. Attorney Qian flipped through the documents more slowly. He said, even if part of the down payment came from Mr. Shen's mother, that does not automatically prove joint ownership. Li Qinghe said, so we also have the subsequent mortgage repayments, an actual investment, the renovation contract, the acceptance certificate, furniture receipts, parking space payment, property management records, even the communication records from the day I was denied entry to the complex. One by one, they were laid out. Lin Roe's face grew paler and paler. Finally, she could not help asking, Shenyan, have you been scheming against me for 10 years? I looked at her. After a long moment, I said, keeping receipts is a habit from my work. I never imagined I would use them against you. Her eyes reddened further. You're certainly good at using them now. You taught me. She froze. I said, you were the one who said the name on the deed determines ownership. You were the one who said all the transfers from the past 10 years were gifts. You were the one who said that if I kept pestering you, you'd call the police. Lin Roe, if I still hadn't learned to calculate, my mother's old house would have been swallowed by your so-called security too. Her lips parted. No words came out. Lin Hao suddenly stood up. Stop playing the victim. You lived in my sister's house all those years and saved on rent, didn't you? I looked at him. Lin Hao. He froze when I called his name. I took another stack of documents from the folder. In March 2020, you said a friend needed investment funds and borrowed 50,000 yuan from me. In June that year, you said you couldn't pay off your credit card and borrowed 30,000. In January 2021, you said you were short on the down payment for a car and borrowed 88,000. In 2022, you borrowed 120,000 yuan from me in 4 installments. Every time, I recorded it as a loan. Lin Hao's face changed. You offered to help me. I nodded. That's why I later had you write an IOU. His eyes widened. When did I ever write one? Li Qinghe slid a photo across the table. In the photo, Lin Hao was at a bar table, drunk, signing his name on a piece of paper. Beside the photo was his message to me. Brother-in-law, I wrote you the IOU. Don't let my sister know, or she'll scold me again. Lin Hao's face flushed bright red. Zhou Meilin lunged forward. trying to grab the phone. You recorded my son without permission. The mediator frowned and told her to sit down. Lin Hao panicked and pointed at me. Shen Yan, you bastard. You planned this all along, didn't you? I ignored him. I looked at Lin Ruwei. You see, your whole family thinks I should pay for the apartment, the bride price, the renovation, the parking space, your brother's debts. And in the end, you still wanted my signature, saying it was all voluntary. Lin Ruwei lowered her head. Her shoulders trembled slightly. Zhang Sheng sat straight beside her. He had been silent for a long time. Li Qinghe took out the last set of materials. There is one more issue. Attorney Qian finally spoke. Attorney Li, today is only pretrial mediation. This is not a formal hearing. Li Qinghe looked at him. Then it's even more important for both sides to understand the risks. The materials were a set of chat records between Lin Ruwei and Zhang Sheng. I had not stolen them. When Lin Ruwei posted my expense list online, someone shared it to a mutual friends group. Later, someone claiming Zhang Sheng owed him money contacted me. He said Zhang Sheng had been urgently looking for assets to mortgage. He sent several screenshots. In the screenshots, Jiang Sheng wrote to Lin Ruwei, selling the apartment now would be too slow. Mortgaging it is better. You need to clean up your involvement with Shen Yan as soon as possible. Don't leave any room for dispute. Once he signs the gift confirmation, this property will be easier to handle. When cash flow improves, I'll make it up to you with an even better wedding. When those words were placed on the table, Lin Ruwei turned sharply toward Zhang Sheng. You said it was just a consultation. Zhang Sheng's expression turned ugly. Ruwei, don't listen to him taking things out of context. I looked at him. Mr. Zhang, you said you could provide security. Were you planning to secure your investment project with her apart? Meant? Jiang Sheng stood abruptly. Shen Yan, watch your mouth. Li Qinghe stood as well. Mr. Jiang, please sit down. Any material involving the risk of property transfer will be submitted ACC, according to law. Zhang Sheng glanced at Lin Ruwei. There was no comfort in that glance, only irritation. Lin Ruwei seemed to see him clearly for the first time. Her lips trembled. You've been pushing me to sell the apartment. Because of this, Zhang Sheng lowered his voice. This is not the time to discuss that. Then when? Her voice sharpened. You said we'd get the marriage certificate after dealing with Shen Yan. You said the apartment was just temporary. You, Zhang Sheng, cut her off. Lin Ruwei, calm down. This time, he did not call her Ruwei. He used her full name. No one spoke. The rain outside had stopped. Only streaks of water remained on the window. Attorney Qian closed the file. His expression was already grim. He said quietly to Lin Ruwei, Ms. Lin, I advise you to reconsider the settlement proposal. Zhou Meilin immediately panicked. Settle? What? The house belongs to Ruwei. Why should we give him money? Attorney Qian glanced at her. If the lawsuit continues, the risks will be greater than you think. Lin Hao wanted to curse again. Then Attorney Qian added, your loans will also be handled in a separate case. Lin Hao shut his mouth. Lin Ruwei sat there as if all strength had left her body. She looked up at me. Her eyes were deeply red. Shen Yan. It was the first time that day she had called my name without coldness or sarcasm. It sounded like long ago, when she waited for me at the subway exit after work. I did not respond. She said softly, do you really have to go this far? I looked at her. You were the one who kicked me out first. Tears fell from her eyes. I just didn't feel secure. I had heard that sentence too many times. Putting the apartment in her name was because she lacked security. Increasing the bride price was because she lacked security. Putting the parking space under her name was because she lacked security. I paid Lin Hao's debts so she could have leverage in her own family. The money from my mother's old house went into the down payment, and she said she would take care of my mother in the future. In the end, she brought Jiang Sheng into the wedding apartment and asked me to sign a gift confirmation. Still, she called it security. Suddenly, I felt very tired. Lin Ruwei, I said, what you wanted was never security. What you wanted was for me to keep quiet, no matter how much you took from me. She froze. I took the old key from the table. It was the original key to the wedding apartment. It was useless now that the lock had been changed. I placed it in front of her. I'm returning this to you. As for the accounts, we'll settle them separately. That mediation failed, but Lin Ruwei did not post on social media again. The family group chat went silent. Instead, chaos began inside the Lin family. Lin Hao called me several times. I did not answer. He messaged me, cursing me and saying I had ruined him. Then he said his sister cried every day now, and it was all my fault. Zhou Meilin also sent voice messages. At first, she scolded me for being heartless. Later, her tone changed. She said family did not need to make things so ugly. The last time, she sounded much softer. Shen Yan, auntie may have said harsh things before, but Ruwei spent 10 years with you. You can't ignore that bond completely. Can you? If she loses the apartment, what will she do? I listened, saved it, did not reply. Jiang Sheng disappeared the fastest. Once word spread that the apartment was involved in litigation, His investment company ran into trouble too. Chen Jia sent me a screenshot. Someone was publicly demanding repayment online, naming Zhang Sheng of Yonggang Shengqi Investment, and attaching several IOs. Lin Ruwei only later learned that Zhang Sheng's so-called partner status had long been empty. When he approached her, he was trapped in a project waiting for payment. He needed working capital. The apartment under her name had a prime location, high valuation, and strong borrowing potential. His idea of security was far more practical than hers. It was a mortgage contract. When Lin Ruwei called me, her voice was hoarse beyond recognition. "Shen Yan, Zhang Sheng is gone. I was at the hospital with my mother for a follow-up." Hearing that, I only said, She seemed to laugh faintly. "Did you already know?" I looked down the hallway. My mother sat on a bench, holding her medical report, carefully reading every line. I didn't know from the beginning, but every time he looked at that apartment, it wasn't the way a person looks at a home. There was silence on the other end. After a long while, Lin Ruwei asked, "Was I like that too?" I did not answer. She asked again, "Shenyan, can we meet one more time? If there's anything to discuss, talk to my lawyer." "I don't want a lawyer." Her voice trembled. "I want to talk to you. We've already said everything." She suddenly began to cry. "Shenyan, I regret it." The hospital broadcast began calling my mother's name. I stood. "I have something to handle. Don't hang up." She panicked. "Shenyan, I really know I was wrong. I shouldn't have brought Zhang Sheng home. I shouldn't have forced you to sign that agreement. I shouldn't have let them say those things about you. But those 10 years weren't fake, were they, from that rental apartment until now? You can't just throw everything away." I gripped the phone. For one instant, memories surged up. The rental apartment leaking during heavy rain. The fireworks outside the construction shed. On New Year's Eve. At the sales office, she held me and cried. The first time the balcony lights came on, she stood by the window, taking photos, and said that from then on, whenever she came home at night, she only had to look up to see the light. But those images were quickly buried by another one. She sat on the sofa, pushing the gift confirmation toward me. "The deed has my name on it, so it's mine." I closed my eyes. "Lin Ruwei, it isn't that I don't want those 10 years. It's that I can't afford to lose the rest of my life to them too." Her sobbing stopped. I hung up. The case did not drag on much longer. Before the formal hearing, Attorney Qian pushed for settlement. The property was appraised and sold. After the remaining mortgage was deducted, Lin Ruwei returned my principal investment and paid corresponding compensation. Lin Hao's debt was handled through a separate repayment plan. The wedding banquet deposit losses were split according to the contract. I did not argue anymore. On the day we signed the settlement agreement, Lin Ruwei had lost a lot of weight. She wore a gray coat and no makeup. Joe Malin did not come. Lin Hao did not come either. Lin Ruwei sat alone across the meeting room, signing document after document with her head lower. The pen paused several times. Attorney Qian reminded her, "Ms. Lin, please sign here as well." She finished signing and put down the pen. Then, she looked up at me. "Shenyan." I was gathering the documents. Li Qinghe glanced at me, but did not stop me. Lin Ruwei said, "I always thought having the apartment under my name would give me security. Now I understand. The apartment is gone. So is the person." Her eyes reddened. "Do you hate me?" I placed the documents into my bag. After thinking for a moment, I said, "Not anymore." She froze. That answer seemed to hurt her more than hatred. She bit her lip, and tears fell. Then, "Can you still?" She did not finish. I had already stood. "No." The meeting room was very quiet. I placed the old key on the table. "Handle this yourself." She stared at the key. It could no longer open any door, but she looked at it as if it were a verdict that had arrived far too late. When I walked out of the law firm, the sky was clear. Chen Jia was waiting downstairs. He handed me a bottle of water. "It's over." "Yeah." "Did it feel good?" I twisted open the cap and took a sip. The water was cold. "Not exactly." Chen Jia glanced at me. "Then, what was it?" I thought about it. "I guess I woke up." He did not ask anything else. A few months later, the proceeds from the property sale came through. The first thing I did was transfer part of the money to my mother. Her hands trembled when she saw the bank notification. "Why is it this much?" "Your old house," I said. "I'm returning it to you." She glared at me. "What do you mean, returning it? Isn't mom's money yours too?" I shook my head. "I used to think so. I don't anymore." She looked at me. Her eyes slowly reddened. "Yan, have you really let go?" I did not answer right away. Outside the window, Yonggang had one of its rare clear winter days. Children were skateboarding downstairs. The wheels scraped softly over the concrete. I said, "I'm still learning." Before the spring festival, I took my mother to view an apartment. It was not especially large. 90 square meters, 2 bedrooms and 1 living room. The location was not in the city center, but there was a hospital downstairs and a vegetable market nearby. The real estate agent was enthusiastic. He talked nonstop about the lighting, layout, and school district. My mother followed behind, carefully touching the kitchen counter. "Isn't this too expensive?" "It's fine. You live alone. Why buy such a big place? 1 room is for you." She waved her hand at once. "I'm not moving in. My place is perfectly fine." I did not argue. After we finished viewing the apartment, the agent asked, "Mr. Shen, if you decide to buy, whose name should go on the deed?" My mother glanced at me as if afraid I would feel hurt. I picked up the pen. Mine. The agent nodded. Individual ownership. Yes. As the pen touched the paper, I suddenly remembered the sales office from many years ago. Lynn Rowe had held my hand and said she did not feel secure. Back then, I thought that if I gave up my name on the deed, I could gain a home in return. Now I knew not every concession is met with gratitude. Some concessions only teach others that you have no boundaries. After signing the purchase agreement, I held the sample key in my palm. The metal was light, its edges pressed against my skin. My mother stood on the balcony, looking outside. Downstairs stood an old camphor tree, still green in winter. She said, "It's bright here." I walked over. "You can sit here in the sun, in the mornings from now on." She did not answer immediately. After a while, she hummed softly in agreement. That evening, Lynn Rowe sent me another message. No long explanation, only one sentence. "Shenyan, if I could do it all over again, I would never have let you put the apartment solely under my name." I stared at it for a long time. I did not reply. Then she sent another message. "I finally understand now. What you gave me back then was never something I was entitled to." I turned off my phone and placed it on the table. In the living room, my mother was organizing brochures for new homes. She wore reading glasses and studied the kitchen dimensions carefully, muttering about where to put the refrigerator and where the dining table should go. I watched her from behind. Suddenly, I felt that this was enough. Later, I had business near the old wedding apartment. When my car passed the entrance of the complex, I slowed for a while. The balcony light on the 16th floor was no longer on. The apartment had a new owner. The curtains had changed color. The security gate rose and fell as strangers came and went. I sat in the car and watched for a few minutes. I did not go upstairs. I did not stay sad for long. That was one thing I learned after 10 years. Not every place called home is truly a home. I started the car and drove away. When I passed the flower shop, the clerk was arranging white roses. I glanced at them. I did not stop. Before spring arrived, I received the keys to my new apartment. The agent handed me the keychain. "Mr. Shen, congratulations on taking possession of your new home." I took it. This time, I did not immediately hand the key to anyone else. I placed it in my palm. Then, I closed my hand. The metal slowly warmed against my skin. My mother stood at the doorway and asked, "Aren't you going to open it?" "I am." I inserted the key into the lock. A gentle twist. The door opened. The room was empty. Sunlight streamed through the living room window, falling across the bare concrete floor. My mother walked in, and the first thing she said was, "There'll be room for a big table here in the future." I smiled. "Then pick one you like." She turned back to me. "And the balcony." I walked over to it. The wind blew in, carrying a slight chill. "I'll install lights." "What kind of lights?" I looked at the unfinished balcony. Something ordinary. I paused. "As long as I can see them when I come home at night, that's enough." My mother did not ask anything else. She only stood beside me and looked out the window. The key was still in my hand. This time, I did not let go.